Okay, Khalid, if you want to lead. Hello, everyone. Khalid Adam will be leading the meeting today. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everyone. And we will start our meeting for today. And I think part of our agendas for today, our colleague Khalid Osman, he's supposed, I think, to present it. But unfortunately, because of the electricity issue, he can't attend or present today. I'm not sure. I don't have the list of the agenda hand right now. If
Yeah, I can share it with you, Khalid.
Okay, thank you.
The list of agendas is you will be speaking on your inspiration story, and then we will discuss the questions based on it. And the second part is I'll be speaking on COVID-19 updates.
Okay.
Yeah, and then maybe at the end we can have a suggestion, because I've noticed that there is more talk on the WhatsApp on different suggestions, so we can have that for some talk today. So we can have this as a part of the agenda. Thank you.
So maybe Mulham, you can speak about the COVID updates, and after that, maybe within 10 to 15 minutes, if we have some, if anyone like our colleague attended, then I can share my experience with them if it could benefit any of them.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, are you able to see my screen or my face?
Yes.
Hello?
Your camera?
Yeah, my camera. Okay, so I have read very recently about multiple topics about COVID, the new updates, and I want to share some of those points. I think this is the right time to speak on them, because the last time we have spoken about it was probably about over a month from now. So there's a lot of change that happened. There are some of the questions are starting to be answered, especially the questions which was asked during the presentation of Khalid Osman very early. He did a very impressive presentation then, and he had multiple questions by the end of the presentation. So I did hear some research, but as well I have seen an interview or Q&A by Professor Ali Fatoum, who's a senior vice president of vaccine research and research associate professor at University of Michigan. This Q&A, you can see it as well. It's very interesting. He spoke in Al Jazeera network in Arabic, and it was very impressive. And he spoke about all the new updates, and this was last week. I'll share with you most of what he said and some of the questions that I was asked from some patients in the clinic very recently in the last 2 weeks, and what I responded based on the new updates to be so that we're all in the same place and we can gather this information and we discuss and go through those process. So firstly, he spoke in terms of the antibiotics or antibodies, where we are at the moment. Are we having it for up to 6 months or up to 1 year right now? Or do we need a second booster following the vaccine? So basically what he said is, what is a clear cut right now at the moment we have is patients who are vaccinated as well as who have or developed a disease that's COVID. Both of them are considered to be having, definitely research shows, 6 months coverage or antibodies development. So there's a protection for 6 months period. That's a clear point. Now, up to 1 year, it's not clear yet, but probably in the next couple of months, we would be able to identify that. Now, the aim of the boosters is probably will be needed, but when, is it 1 year or 2? That's something we're gonna see in the next couple of months from now. So still some points are starting to get up, but most probably we will need that. Now, what is interesting that he mentioned the new topic which is in the news, which is Pfizer is covering 100%. He said it's one research. And what he mentioned, that the importance of this research, it's based on certain group of people that they did a research on. If we do the same study in different group of people, we might end up with 98, maybe even less, or 95%. So it's just that part. It's not like it's definitely 100% protection, but we can say it's very effective and it's important for our immune system, and we need to take the vaccine. And then comes the question is, Brazil variant, South Africa, and other parts of the world as well, or the British one. So what is more serious from all those parts? Now, we all know that the British mutation part, or the one which we heard about in the news, the vaccines cover it very well. If it is Pfizer, Moderna, and so on. But there comes others. For example, AstraZeneca failed completely with the South African variant. This is also very important to know. So AstraZeneca is not able to cope with the new variants or variations or the mutations in the viruses. Then comes Pfizer and Moderna. Recent research shows 50% reduction or protection, only 50%. So that's very low level yet. So, and this shows that the virus is getting stronger. And that's something that we discussed very early in the presentation, that we hope it doesn't go towards the antigenic shift. Right now we are in a drift, similar to what we have every year from the influenza or the flu shots that we need to take. So hopefully it doesn't keep on going and evolving to reach that antigenic shift, which means our immune system won't be able to cope, and we will keep on developing vaccines and vaccines and vaccines until we have nothing to do, and then we'll leave it at the end. So hopefully we don't reach that stage. Okay, and then the second point is, what is the difference between the first and second dose? Well, we all know that. The first dose is the initial part, and the second is a booster. And the most important thing is our immune bodies, our antibodies start generated mostly starting from day 4, and by day 14 it reaches the peak, the levels. That's from the first dose, and then second dose results in the rise and the higher peaks that we needed in our bodies. So this is a question that I had from one of the patients that said they took the first vaccine or the first dose from Pfizer, and were diagnosed with COVID about a week after. So should they take the vaccine or shouldn't they take it? Because they were going to have it in the next couple of weeks from after that. Now, they developed COVID. So there's 2 points here. Number one, they are going to be risky because they have developed the COVID. So they're going to be spreading the disease if they go towards the COVID centers. That's number one. The second point is the patients develop the disease. That is COVID. So if somebody develops COVID, it means that's kind of like a second dose. That's a booster, which is needed. So the second dose will be nonsense or useless. And that's what I said to the patient. And that's why I didn't go towards the COVID centers. And remembering that it is risky that they will go. So it's useless and nonsense to take the second dose. It doesn't make sense because they already had a disease, the antibodies were developed, and they were low risk patients. Yeah, and here is a point. If somebody has the vaccine, they are protected, but they need to take the precautions. Unfortunately, right now, it is very seen that the public, because of the weather and everything, they're starting to get up outside and trying to enjoy their time. And that's not good. It means we're going to have a fourth and a fifth and so on. The cycles or the wave is going to be keep on coming based on those approach, which needs to be changed. So even if somebody takes a vaccine, we need to do the same things that we did before taking the vaccine. That's very crucial to make sure we are controlling the disease and preventing the spread. Because we might have a disease, yeah, sure, we are protected. Or if we develop the disease, if somebody who's vaccinated, they might have minimal symptoms, but they are carriers. They're going to spread it in the public. And then comes a question, which is, should we take ibuprofen? This is very common right now. Many are not speaking on it. And Dr. Or Professor Fatum, he mentioned it, that, well, ibuprofen has been something that many are taking ibuprofen to say, well, I'm going to develop fever. Why not be smart? I'm preventing the symptoms from the start. I don't want to feel pain, localized pain, or fever and all that. So, well, he said, that's how the virus or the vaccine works. It aims to provoke the immune system to result in a response. That's antigenic response. So by doing an ibuprofen, you're impairing what the vaccine should do. So that results in you're impairing the reactions. And so basically, you, as if you have not taken, or impairing the effects of the vaccine from occurring. So why have less effect of a vaccine and maybe not even having such an effect on our body at all. So the second dose can be even impaired if we do the same thing. So it's important not to take the ibuprofen and make it as it is now. The question becomes, when should we take it seriously, like the fevers and all that? 48 hours. Beyond 48 hours, then maybe you can take something after, or maybe ibuprofen, or most important, go towards a physician and mention that we are having the symptoms persisting or getting worse beyond 48 hours. Other than that, most likely there isn't much of a symptoms, and we should allow the immune system to result in its symptoms, even if it is nausea, vomiting, or those parts, which is very common in some patients following the second dose, not the first. The first dose usually results in localized pain in the shoulders or the arms, but the second dose results more in a response because of the booster, and the immune response or the immune system started to result in a stronger hyper-exaggerated response, resulting in those kind of symptoms. And those are some of the updates. And please, if you have any questions, let's have that discussion. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mulham, for this great information and very updated ones. Please, if anyone have any question to Mulham, feel free to ask him.
Yeah. Excellent presentation, Mulham. Thank you so much for the great information. I just want to highlight and maybe repeat or focus on 2 points. The first point is that the vaccine, the first dose, it will reach about 50, 60, 65, somewhere where your immune system is able to fight the infection. So you still have about 40% chance you can get the infection. So by getting the first dose, you are not immune 100%, but you can fight. So let's say 50-50 chance. The second dose will, as Mulham mentioned, will boost your immune system to the level where it will reach the 95%, or depends, let's say between 90 and 95. So you still reduce the chance of getting the infection by about, maybe after the second dose, to 5%. So maybe you will find patients who have the first dose done, and then they come with infection, or even they can get the first and the second dose and they can also present with the infection. The good news is that the infection might be very low as far as effect on the patient. So the patient will be with no symptoms or very minimal symptoms if they have the infection. So the immune system will suppress the infection at that time. So this is one of the benefits of the vaccine, because there are some videos out there, some misinformation saying even if you take the vaccine, you might get infection. So why you take it? So, and the first response to that is, yes, you have the chance to get the infection, but your body is able to handle that. You might have less symptoms and less severe side effect or results out of the infection. It's not like if you don't, you may die if you don't get the infection, if you don't get the vaccine for the infection. This is the first point when you discuss with patient, or when you try to clarify the misinformation out there. The second point I want to say is, it's our job to educate everyone around our communities. So try to reach out, ask if there is any question or there are questions around there, and try to clarify things out. So each and every one of you is able to do that. So that would be a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader, for this great information about the vaccine and its effect and explanation on the immune system and the ability to fight the infection. Our second agenda, I will speak about my experience. Yes, Ali?
Yes.
first of all, I would like to thank Mulham for these very interesting updates. And also, I would like to thank Dr. Nader. Actually, I have 4 points to comment on, or maybe questions. First of all, I totally agree with Dr. Nader. I think the main advantage of the vaccine is that prevent hospitalization and mortality, or it's not preventable 100%, but I think more than 98 or something. So this is the main benefit of all these vaccines, since it decreases mortality and prevents hospitalization. So you will get a mild infection, as Fernando said. My question is about AstraZeneca. If Mulham or anyone has any ideas about these updates in UK, they stopped the vaccine in less than 30 years of age. I think they mentioned something about benefits against this. So in less than 30, it's more riskier, I believe, to take the AstraZeneca vaccine, while more than 30, actually beneficial, since 1 in a million or 4 in a million get blood clots, and 1 in a million dies because of the vaccine. But also, I have heard something about DIC and thrombocytopenia. Actually, I didn't have time to go through this, but I think there are more than 8 cases of, I don't know, thrombocytopenia, DIC, something like that. So if anyone has an idea or any answers. I also have an interesting point that I think might benefit you. For that case, Mulham mentioned he developed the COVID after the vaccine. Actually, I had the first dose of AstraZeneca, and after 2 days or so, I developed symptoms like fever and fatigue and nausea and so on. So I reached out to a consultant virologist. He told me that there are 2 types of antibodies. The vaccine, as it uses spike protein, the antibodies for it would be against spike protein, similar to hepatitis B antibodies, anti-S and anti-C, and so anti-E. So the test that's available is antibodies for the virus itself. So if you have been vaccinated and not infected, you will have the antibody test negative. However, you have the infection, only then you will have these antibody tests positive. I would like to comment also on the very interesting point about ibuprofen. Actually, I think ibuprofen is anti-inflammatory. It is so anti-inflammatory drug, so it makes sense not to take the drug, as it lower the inflammation, and that's the whole idea about the vaccine. But I have a question. Paracetamol is not an inflammatory, right? So according to my study, it's not an inflammatory. So can we take it for fever and so on, or it's also in the category with ibuprofen? Thank you.
Thank you, Ali, for this great points and questions. Please, Mulham and Dr. Nader, if you can answer Ali's questions, or if you want to comment about what he mentioned.
Thank you, Khalid, and thank you, Ali, for this amazing questions and points. I agree with your points. And yeah, for first starting the first question, the AstraZeneca, yeah, this is right now becoming a big dilemma right now all around the world. Many countries are starting to stop. Many countries in Europe, Ireland, and UK, and as you mentioned, the DIC issues and thrombosis and all that. So they said that there is, I have read some about it, haven't finished my reading about it, but from what I understood is there's over 13 cases right now which patients have developed some unusual thrombosis at different areas in their bodies, resulting in mortality at times. So they said most probably it can be correlated to the AstraZeneca itself because they are unusual. Now, if something was usual, for example, like DICs, they could have related it to maybe their risk factors, and they have in some patients. But because they were unusual and rare, they said this most probably have occurred in correlation to the AstraZeneca. Now, they're trying to find different reasons to explain that. One of those reasons, they said it's a poor quality AstraZeneca that was generated, and some number of million, I think 10 million or maybe over that, 30 million I heard a couple of days ago, which were poor quality. They did a mix between two vaccines together, resulting in this kind of mistake in production. And so all patients who had that, they are more prone to develop such a thing, but the probability is very low. Based on the figures and everything, it's 0.01. That's why they shut the production, because of the poor quality, or they shut the vaccinations in the UK at the moment. But I think that's just a small mistake. It shouldn't be resulting in a concern that we should stop vaccination and all that, but just a small something that can happen with the rush and all that. And some companies are trying to do their best, and that's why the risk of mistake is higher, an error. That's what happened in this situation, and but it's true. So it's something that happened. It's unusual, rare thrombosis that resulted in some mortality, unfortunately, in some patients. So that's why AstraZeneca, has this bad reputation for the last couple of weeks. For I think you asked 2 questions, but the other were comments, and were amazing comments. Thank you for that. The second question was paracetamol and non-steroidals in correlation to the fevers. And as you said exactly, that's how aspirin works. It's an anti-inflammatory agent, and that's why it's definitely going to impair our immune system, because our immune system required for the vaccine to work very well and efficiently. So for the paracetamol, exactly, Dr. Fatoum, he mentioned it directly, which is the professor I discussed earlier. He mentioned that please don't use anything at all. If you want to use something, I would say from my side, drink water or something, but don't use anything at all. So of course, water doesn't have anything, no correlation, but that's exactly what we should do. Do nothing at all, allow our immune system to do its effects. All those agents, the fever is not that high. It's just a response. It shows us that our body is reacting to what is happening. So we should allow it to happen. And it's a good response for our body to have fever. So yeah, that's all I can say. So no paracetamol, no non-steroids, preferably for patients or for anybody who's used vaccine. And yeah, and if there is any question, Ali, please ask again. And if everyone have any question, please ask. And I will leave the space for Dr. Nader as well to respond. And thank you.
Thank you, Mulham. Tamadr have a questions, and before Dr. Nader reply or answer Ali's questions, I would like to give Khalid Osman the opportunity, because I see him here. It might be if he have the current or electricity. Welcome, Khalid.
Hello all. I'm sorry for joining in late. We just had the electricity back on.
Good.
And originally I should have presented the data presentation graphs and explained it. I already started the PowerPoint, but I have not finished it yet due to the power outage. I think it's better maybe to go over it again and present it next week. And if I presented it now, it would be only a pie chart and bar graph, and the important things as forest plot and the whisker plot. I didn't have the time to research those, so I don't know what exactly you discussed so far, but this meeting's agenda was me presenting that PowerPoint, of course. We also need to go over the AGS poster updates, of course. Thank you, Dr. Nader, for uploading the videos on behalf of us. And also thank you very much for all your feedback during the last week. I think also today we should, Khalid Adam said that he will share his road to the residency. And if any other successful fellow who matched this year want to share his or her story, that would be also great.
Thank you, Khalid Osman, for all the effort. And yes, we started. Mulham, we started the meeting. Mulham gave an update about COVID-19. and there's some discussion about this topic. And now I will let Dr. Nadir, if you want to answer or to reply to Alice's questions or comments.
Before that, maybe Tamadur can ask our question or comments, and then I will follow. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I have a question. If someone has recent COVID infection, so when he can be able to take the vaccine? I have this question from Sudan, and I don't have an answer.
Okay. Thank you, Tamadur, for this question. This is a very important question. I'll respond based on just very recently. This question I have heard it from also in the recent clinic I was involved in. And I think the best answer is based on what we have at the data is not very clear cut, but preferably we know that for a fact that the vaccines or provide us immunity up to 6 months. So if somebody wants or developed a disease, most probably their immune system going to produce antibodies up to 6 months or 7 months maybe. So after 6 months, it is okay to take the vaccine. That's what we said in the clinic. But maybe somebody else can provide us even more details, more about the recent updates and research, as well as Dr. Nadir can provide us a better response from a clinical perspective. Thank you all. And I hope that helps.
Thank you, Mulham. So I'll start with another question and then go back to Alice's other question. And I agree with you for the most of the answers, Mulham. So Tamadur, if we look at the virus, if it's the virus static, like it's one virus like malaria, for example, you know, its structure is not going to change, and it hit you, your body will react to that. So there is no need for the vaccine, as Mulham mentioned, because your body is already ready for the next infection if there is any. The issue here is the virus is changing. So if you have the infection now, you might have another infection later down the road, but with a different variant of the virus. So I think what could be beneficial, even if you have an infection, you can get the vaccine. It's not for the previous infection to combat that or to get ready for that. But as we discussed in the previous section, the immune system will get up to fight even any other variant. And I think that's the beneficial, at least in theory. If my patient here in nursing homes, whether they have infection or not, we mass vaccine everyone. The staff members, if they had an infection or not, we ask them to get the vaccine. So I think that's the theory behind advising to get the vaccine. Yes, your immune system after the infection will be ready, but the vaccine will get that a little bit up higher for the chance to fight in the future. As far as Alice's question, I agree completely with Mulham's answer. I think it's just some of the information is changing. So even if we give the answer today, it may change down the road because the studies are undergoing and even the numbers might change. So as far as the duration, for instance, Mulham mentioned the 6 months. We don't know exactly. Is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Is it 1 year? So future will tell us when they are done with studies in the future. Thank you.
Thank you to another. Marwa, you have a question?
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you, Mulham, Dr. Nader, and Ali for the important points that you all shared. I just wanted to share one thing. Well, I just looked up at the CDC. They have a like question and answer section. And regarding, if I can share my screen, regarding the part, well, it's like this question have been asked before, like or answered. If someone already have recovered from COVID, do they still need to take the vaccine? They said the answer is yes. However, they didn't specify the time frame, but they said if someone was treated for COVID with monoclonal antibodies or convalescent plasma, they should at least wait for 90 days, which is like 3 months. So I would say it depends maybe on the treatment modality. It's safe to assume that they need to take it at some point, but it's not like there is no clear point so far regarding when to take it. But if in the case if someone took was given monoclonal antibodies or convalescent plasma, they need to wait for at least 90 days. This is the only thing that they mentioned clearly. Also, like just to also the part that Mulham answered, yes, it's right. They have to, if someone was vaccinated, if someone should someone get vaccine while they are currently having symptoms? No, you shouldn't do that unless after they get cleared from the isolation, like they can like fulfill the criteria, and they mentioned here the part regarding the criteria. So so this is what they mentioned. You shouldn't take the vaccine while having symptoms. And actually, part of the screening when you having like when you are planning to take the vaccine, they ask you these questions: do you have symptoms? Were you positive in the last 15 days regarding COVID? If that's the case, you will not get the vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you, Marwa, for this great information. If no other comment or questions about the COVID updates, maybe we can start the second agenda of this meeting, and I will start sharing my experience. I started preparing for the USMLE in late 2012. By 2013, I finished my USMLE Step 1. I got a very low score, 202, which was very frustrating for me at that time. And due to different reasons, I didn't, like, it's the first computerized test for me, and I didn't prepare well for the time management and all these issues. And after that, I took the CS and I learned my lesson from Step 1. I prepared very, very well concerning time management and all these things. And I was able to score well in Step 2 CK. Also, I'm an old graduate, graduate 2008. When I finished the CK in 2019, I applied that year, but I didn't get any. I just got one interview, I think in mid-May, and it wasn't went well. And after that, I started to ask people for some advice and what I need to do. One of the great advice I got, one of them is I did an observership in a hospital here in Massachusetts. And one of the attendings told me that she told me that you need to have a research experience concerning the residency, and most of the program directors or committees, they look at the research experience. And after that, I tried my best every way. I went into LinkedIn and other groups, hospitals, emailing people here and there to looking for a research opportunity, but I got nothing because I don't have an experience. And at the same time, also I started working at a free clinic. I started one time per day, and after that, they give me an opportunity to do 2 days per week, and after 3 days per week, and I continued with them from April 2019 till now, still working with them. And I benefited a lot from this clinical experience. I deal directly with the patient. I ask the history, physical exam, and I discuss the case with my attending. And together we put the plan of management. And through Sabab, they gave me someone like as a mentor. He looked at my CV and he gave me an advice. It was harsh, his critique at the beginning, but after that, I appreciated his advice. He told me, all is in your CV, you just finish the USMLE. And everyone applying to residencies, they finish USMLE. You have nothing honestly in your CV. And that was like a wake-up call for me. And I started to, he gave me this like advice or whatever he said before I started doing observership or joining this free clinic. And that is why like it was a wake-up call for me. Started looking here and there, and I got these two opportunities, clinical opportunities, and I did them. I applied 2019, and there was nothing. And there was some frustrations, honestly, when you apply and when you do these things and you can't get anything. But at the same time, I just keep asking myself, I need to do everything I could to improve my CV. And one of the things that also he mentioned to me, you need to show them that you are motivated to learn, and they will not know this from your like from your current CV. You have to continuously involve in some learning activities, to take courses, to participate in different activities. For anyone that can read your CV, to see that you have the ability to learn and you are motivated to study. And I did all those. I got through my employer some courses from Harvard Medical School, and I took them. And I put this on my CV in addition to the great opportunities that Dr. Nadir gave us for the research. Yeah, it is, for me, it is very huge. Like I can't thank you enough, Dr. Nadir, for this opportunity, because I knew the pain when I send more than 500 emails to people asking for a research opportunity, and some of them replied, some of them they ignore them. I think from 500, I think I got less than 10 emails. They replied back for me, they don't have an opportunity. But the good thing, this is maybe part of my personality. I never give up. I just keep fight to the end. And this is what I will ask my colleagues, those who didn't match. Never give up. Just keep fighting, and there's an opportunity there. You will match one day. You just need to continue. And or my message in summary, try to get any clinical opportunity. For me, like for this clinic, I work for 2 years. I drive 1 hour, like 50 miles back and forth for 3 days a week. And at the same time, I have my full-time job, 40 hours. In addition, I involve in this research opportunity. So try your best to never give up. Like while I was like driving back and forth, sometimes yes, I have some frustrations. I don't think this will add anything and this and that. But by the end, I'm very happy that I match. So any clinical opportunity, you got it. No matter how you feel that is something very small, just in my opinion, take it and start with it, and the door will open for you, and it will give you opportunity. It makes some connections. At the same time, we are very lucky. We have this research opportunity in our CVs. And also, if there's any possibility to take some courses or to put in your CVs, there are some activities that you are learning and you are studying. In addition to try to create some connections. Thank you. If anyone have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, Khalid.
Yes. First of all, thank you for sharing your experience. I think, yeah, resilience at the end always pays off. It's really great to hear that you went through this and eventually you've succeeded, and you really deserve that. Do you think sending program directors emails before applying to the match helped you in any way?
In my opinion, honestly, I don't have a clear answer to these questions. But if you feel that like your part of your CV it fit part of their criteria, it doesn't necessarily to fit all what they need in their candidate. But if you feel to some extent it fits their criteria, and also if you saw or you know some people they have similar profile to yours, I think maybe you can ask them differently, like if they have research to join them, or if they have any opportunities that you can participate. It may be a good idea to reach out to them and to create some connections. Um, as I know in the program that I match at, there are two candidates. Uh, they did some clinical activities in that hospital, and they chose them. If anyone have a good answer to Khalid's questions, please feel free. Maybe Dr. Nadir, if you have an answer to Khalid's question.
Sorry, I stepped away for a second. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, Khalid asked a question. Is it a good idea before the match to send an email to a program director to tell them that you are interested in their program?
As far as sending emails, I think there is a period where it's limited or it's not, it's illegal. So if you want to do it before that or after that period, I think you have no problem doing that. Like after the match, yes. Before the match, I think in the period where they sent the invitation for, I think you start in, is it September? The application process, when they look at your application and then send the invitation. Maybe in the area where it's September, October, you can send your emails to the programs and say, I'm interested in this and that. I don't think there is a problem with that. But to tell you the truth, I don't think program directors will look at these emails. It's similar to the email you send for the research. Most of the researcher will be involved in other activities, so they don't respond to every email they get unless there is like an opening. Then they will look at these emails. So for the program directors to respond to all these emails during that period, I don't think it will be beneficial for you. What beneficial is during this period right now, we are in between March to June, July. If there is an open position right now for any reason, visa issue, some applicants may change their mind about one program to another, or they change because of relocation or some other family concern or pregnancy or something. They sometimes have an unavoidable vacant position. Then at that time, they will look at any email or any person. Actually, they will seek out to other programs to see if there is an available candidate to start right away. So if you are ready, then you can send your emails between now and July to say that you are ready to fill in the gap if there is any vacant, unexpected vacancy. So I think this is my suggestion for you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader, for this answer. Please, Lubaba, if you have a question.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Mulham, for the great update regarding COVID. It's very valuable information, and thank you for the answers. And for Khalid, that was an inspiring story. And for sure, hard work and determination always pays off. So thank you so much. Yeah, you brought the point of the research, and as you mentioned, we can't thank Dr. Nader enough about the opportunity. For myself, experience with a couple interviews, the question was mainly about the research. I did an interview for a research position last week, still waiting to hear back, but their focus was talking about the research and the topics that I was able to do through this fellowship. So I'm just suggesting for all of the fellows, if we can come up with solid answers to be about the fellowship research that we're currently doing. And we have to know in and out the projects that we did so far, and we are intending to fulfill in the next couple of weeks, or I mean couple months. So, and for Dr. Nadir too, if you can weigh off on this, the selection criteria for the fellowship and all of this. So to reflect it the best way that we had. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lubaba, and Dr. Nadir, if you like to comment on Lubaba's.
So I'd like to thank Khalid for sharing your experience, and as Lubaba mentioned, hard work, and as you mentioned, just don't give up. Try to improve as much as you can. Look at your CV or your application, and maybe you can ask people to look at it and see what area you can improve. Clinical skills or clinical activities is very important, even on a volunteer sense. It's good in your CV. Learning to show that you are learning also it's good thing, and research is a big part. So to come to Lubaba's comment or question, it's important to mention what you are interested in and why you were involved in certain project. Let's say you're involved in the COVID thing or the falls or certain part. I would mention that in general, you are interested in, let's say, internal medicine, and you're gonna see a lot of older patients in this or fellow with family medicine, for instance, and the population is increasing. So put the background for the answer as your interest is in your field where you want to go, but you expect that you're going to see a lot of older patients with complex problems and multiple comorbid conditions, something like that. So this basically the idea of the research fellowship is to prepare you to look at these folks with multiple comorbid conditions and look at them from different angles, and prepare you when you start your residency. When you see some of these, you try to identify a problem that you want to study and you want to find a solution. You want to find a better way to handle it. Let's say a patient with diabetes, they are not taking their medication, non-compliance. You find something like that, and you find another patient with similar problem. So this is a problem that you face in your clinic or in your residency. So maybe you can raise up this question. Oh, I have this couple of patients, they have problems with non-compliance. So how to handle this? So you will, the first step is to identify the problem. And then what we learn here is in this fellowship is when you have a problem you want to study, see what happened in the literature. So you do literature review, maybe someone there already answered this problem or gave you the answer. So you try that, use that as a way to fix the problem. If it's not, if it's an old way, if it's something that's not usable in this current situation, maybe you think about other option. This comes when you don't have an answer. Let's say in the 80s, 90s, computers were not there. but now computers are there. The internet in the 90s were just was in the beginning. Now the internet is available most of the time. Smartphone, touch screen were not there. Now they are. So why don't we use these type of things in addressing the issue we are facing with these folks, the problem? So this is a way of thinking about the problem. Think about the solution. If it's in the past, is it working now? If not, what can we do to address the problem now? In the beginning, I gave you a list of posters that was presented, I think, in 2019, and a couple of in is it AGS, I think, or and where there are posters, they did the same thing. They address, identify a problem and address that problem. My way of thinking is I can look at all this and see what I can learn from one of them and see if I can repeat that problem with what we have now. If they did that study in the 90s, now in 2020, 22, things change. So how can we change the solution with what we have, with whatever technology or way of thinking, education kind of reaching patients? So the fellowship is meant to teach you the basics of the research, identify the problem and how to solve the problem and practice it. And the goal is to get you at least one project finished. And you can do more than that. During doing this process, you are learning about the statistic, about the PowerPoint presentation or slides. You are learning about team work, because most of the time you need a team to achieve your goal. So in that team, you may be a leader in one time period, and then you might be someone is leading you or adding task for you to achieve. So you will be on the same two position, either you direct someone or someone is directing you. And this is what happened actually in the residency. When you enter, you will be junior or first year. So your senior will let you know what to do. They will assign you the list of patients. I need you to see this. And then when you see the patient, they want you to give a feedback or what's your plan. And then you will discuss with the attending. If you order labs, they want you to follow these labs, something like that. And then by next year, you will be the senior. So you will be the top leader of the team. And you will tell the junior what to do. And you expect them to finish the job, something like that. So by doing what we are doing now, I think in a team position, you can play the two roles, these skills. And then when we finish the project, then the communication skills comes to play, like when you present what we did, the videos or PowerPoint presentation, or even the discussion when we assign you to discuss something about one topic. Each one of you have the opportunity to communicate, and with the technology now, it's easier. In the past, you come into groups and then discuss. And this is what happens during residency. You can present your cases. Sometimes they have morning meetings where you present a case. Sometimes they have other meetings, like cases where interesting case you want to present, or sometimes mortality and morbidity. Something. So by doing this presentation, you're involved in communication skills. I think you prepare yourself to get ready when these are needed. Sometimes it's hard for the first year resident to be in front of the group or the teams to present their case. If you did some more presentation now, I think you will be ready when you join the residency. So these skills will help both the research part and the clinical part when you are there. To tell you the truth regarding the application process, when you applied in August last year, September, my criteria for you is we want to limit to 5. The proposal was 5 positions because the funding was only for a small group, and I was ambitious to get all the money to address certain issues depending on the market, what value, like PowerPoint, Microsoft Office offers this, and SPSS offer their product with this amount of money. So this is why we limited the position to 5. The criteria is to see who is available right away, who has applied in the past and is planning to apply for residency this year. So our goal is to improve your chances by involving in research, learning the research, and hopefully you get some project and present and publish. I wanted everyone to be at least step 1, step 2, and ready for your application to be ready. And one of my colleague added that if we want a local fellow in the Michigan area, so this is the criteria basically. In a few weeks after we decided to start application, I got some of your application. We discussed in some of the meetings the cost, and I found out that most of the cost for Office or other products will be cheaper through the MSU, significantly cheaper. So I thought maybe instead of only 5 positions, maybe we can increase it to more than that. So I looked at all of your applications, and then we started to accept more, and I think we limited it to the 15 range, and we ended up with 16. 2 of you did not really met the first criteria about applying. They still in the process of step 1 and step 2, and application process not started yet in the RAS. But for me, it didn't matter at that time. So the main criteria, most of you applied last year, and they are preparing to apply this year. And the goal is to help you improve. So the idea is to empower your application so that you can be ready, and kind of your application will be looked at differently. So this is the main process for application and the criteria for you to be accepted. Sorry.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader, for this great explanation. Also, I would like to mention 2 points that I forgot to mention. Please try your best to reach out to as much as possible Sudanese residents and attendings, and to see the hospitals where they take people with certain profile, and specifically that may be closer or similar to yours. And as Dr. Nader mentioned previously, there are some people in a very good position, but their hands are very tied due to bureaucratic or certain measures concerning the hospitals. They try to help, but they can't sometimes. So just reach out, whatever, reach out to people, and you will find an opportunity here and there, and just keep reminding them and send them your application and your CV. And also concerning the CV and the application, I highly recommend to use editing. There's a website, it's not that expensive. They can edit most of your document. It's called Kibin for like $10, $5, $20. And if you start earlier, you'll get it cheaper. If you need it faster, like within 24 hours, they will charge more. And they have excellent editing services. It's called Kibin, and I will share with you the link in the WhatsApp group if you need it for most of your documents or these things. And also, the second point I want to mention, please also try to volunteer at different organizations. And most of this volunteering, it doesn't consume your time. It just needs a few hours. I volunteer with Saba at the Research and Career and Research Office. And I think you should reach out to them. They are very helpful. And recently I proposed to them that for this year, like 2020 applicants, to try to triage or to sort out the residents, those they need, like old graduate people with certain, if I can say, red flags, to try their best to accommodate them or to try to help them by different ways, like for certain like hospitals, or to link them with certain attendings, physician or residents. So this is a great opportunity. They don't have much of activities, but if you volunteer and if you put it in your CV, I think it will look great. This is the second point I want to mention. Yeah, and also look here and there I also got an opportunity. I translated many documents for American Academy of Pediatrics, because I'm a certified medical interpreter and translator. So I volunteered with them and I got recognition from them, and I added this to my CV. It doesn't cost me like much of a time. I think the whole time for 6 months, not more than 1 hour per day. So any chance to volunteer, just take it and add it to your CV. Thank you. And Mulham, I think you have a question.
Yeah. It's not a question, but first I'd like to thank you very much for your inspiration story. Really, it's very inspiring, and it's a great journey you made to everyone. It's very detailed. Thank you for that. And I want to say that really, I was very fortunate to have discussed with you at many occasions, different times. We had different talks, and I know that you are an amazing person and a very hardworking person. And I was very fortunate that last week we had the recording together. I really enjoyed that time, as we had laughs and we had different situations. So these are the moments really which are important, and I was very fortunate to have that with you. And I think most of us, we need to support one another and encourage one another to go through this journey, because it's very tough. And thank you really for this inspirational story. And also I'd like to thank Dr. Nader for giving us this opportunity. Really, definitely it had an impact in us. And I was very fortunate to have met you all. You're all amazing people. And really, I hope soon that we meet together, because that will be something really good, really, because it's something that needs to be done, inshallah, in the near future. And last thing I would say, good luck, Lubab, with your interview. Hopefully it will go great and you will get the position. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Mulham. And it's my pleasure as well to meet you and to discuss with you at different levels. And Mulham helped me a lot during my preparation for the interview. And most of the time, because I work like almost 80 hours, so I don't have time. And he just keep calling me, I'm ready to start. So I don't have an option. So I guess I have to say ready, because he was helping me out. Thank you, Mulham. And like as he said, we just need to support each other till we match and reach our goals. Thank you. Marwa or Dr. Nader, you have comments or questions?
Yes, I just, as Mulham and everyone said, like your story is really inspirational, and the fact that you were very resilient and just kept going and trying to improve, this is very inspiring. And hopefully, I think this is just not about us, it's about everyone. Like when you are hardworking like this, you inspire others to like really go hard and continue to try and not to give up. So thank you for all of that. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and it was really a great opportunity. It's not only about research. We learned, I think, from each other many things throughout the way. Like it's not only about the research topics. I believe the interview experience and even the preparation, all of these were really helpful to me, because I didn't have much clue about the whole process, and So hopefully we can, I believe we have the, we should have like such commitment to help others who are might be in a similar situation. And here, like I would like to extend a special thanks to Dr. Nader, because I just one thing, like some people wouldn't give you the chance unless you, like, for example, they set criteria. We won't give you a research experience opportunity unless you already have done research. So in my opinion, what is the point? If I'm not gonna get it unless someone take the chances on us. So I just want you all to adopt this mentality so you can actually help others. So for example, like I was asking an interview, like, why did they choose you? Why, like, I don't see any experience in your resume. Why did they choose you? And it was like, I would say I was shocked and I felt like I was judged. But I believe that I, I improved a lot. And actually, the fact that we are able to say that we finished projects, we learned a lot, and it's not just it doesn't end here. It's a learning curve, and we hopefully we keep continue to keep learning, but just keep that at the back of your mind. Whenever you can help someone who is in, like, yeah, he doesn't have the experience so far, but when will they get it? If anyone denies them the experience, saying that, oh, you don't have such experience yet. So, like, to me, it doesn't make sense. But this is the common mentality. I would say generally many people at least think that way. So hopefully we can set um, new standards, I would say, in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marwa. I just want to mention a very interesting post that I found on Facebook. I'm not sure if I can say this in Arabic, Dr. Nader. Yeah. في صفحة اسمها كتابات ديك الجن، يعني كانت very motivational بالنسبة لي أنا. يعني قريت specifically مثلا this post بيقول انت لازم تكون يعني جزء من العالم ده، حتى لو انت ما شغال، حتى لو انت موجود في اي حته ما. يعني مثلا اي انسان يفتح الايميل بتاعه مثلا لازم يلقى اسمه، فبقول انت لازم تكون جزء من العالم، ولازم يعني تراسل الناس ومثلا تكوميونيكيت وكده لحد ما يعني ما تكون معزول. يعني لازم تكون جزء من العالم، ولازم يلقوا حاجاتك. يعني اي موظف في اي حته ما يفتح ايميل ويلقى منك ايميل او يسمع منك حاجه. يعني it was very interesting for me. It is very funny and it was very motivational. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to add 2 points. One of them similar to what you said, Khalid, and one similar to Marwa mentioned. So I will start with the second one. Many years ago, I was on the same boat, like in Boston. I was working as a volunteer at one point, and then I was hired as medical assistant. So my goal is to do some clinical work. So I asked one of the attending there, can I do some work? And the answer was the same situation is, do you have reference so that they can accept you? I said, no one can write me a letter without seeing me doing things. And he's like, so if you want to do something, someone's supposed to support you. And they have an example, they say catch 22. So if I don't work, no one will accept me. And if I work, I need someone to write me a letter. So I was in that situation where there is no way for me to get any step further. Nevertheless, I took the chance to communicate with other attendings, and finally I found someone who can accept me. It's just an observership. It's not a lot, but it helped me at least see the work differently. So I agree with you, Khalid. You have to continue try to reach out. The Arabic example you mentioned is just don't give up. try everywhere, every place, and everyone. Talk to people, communicate via email, Facebook, or WhatsApp. Try to reach out. Some days, at one point, you might find someone who will listen and figure out and match you. Maybe they know where there is a need and you can match that place, but continue doing what you're doing. And again, I can repeat, just try to ask someone to look at your resume, your application, see what you can improve. Sometimes we have a limited view ourselves. We say, I can do this, and you cannot view behind or beyond this particular view area. But if you give it to someone else, they may tell you, oh, everything's fine, but why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? And then you can open some doors otherwise. Same with the application or the personal statement. You mentioned the website. I found it, even if you are rounding with or you are working in your place, some of the English speakers might look at your thing and highlight some English sentence that they can change. So certain, even if it's little things, it will help you guys, but don't give up. My motto at one point, or my inspiration, was a song. It was I Can Fly. So we kept singing that song after step 2, and then whenever we sit down to study or something, like, oh, I can fly, reach the sky, something like that. So don't give up. It may take 1 year, couple of years, but hopefully soon it will be meant to you to reach that point of that position. Don't give up.
I have like a practical example to what Dr. Nadir said. First year, because I don't know, this is part of our culture. We kind of shy. When I applied the first year, I barely give my personal statement, I think, to 2 people to look at it. And after that, my approach changed completely. When I applied second time, I gave my personal statement and my CV to 10 Sudanese people, like attendings, resident, and from all those, as Dr. Nadir mentioned, I got 10 different views or perspective to my personal statement and to my CV. And when I send it to them, at that time I believe it's almost perfect to me. And I got different opinion. If you put this here, if you add this here, and after that I send it to this Kibin. Someone edited it, and just to make sure, because I learned that lesson, as Dr. Nadir mentioned, always there's something here and there, and specifically when it comes to writings. Again, I send it again to the same website to a different person. Also, he gave me some suggestions to tweak here and there, and I think after that, I felt like my personal statement very solid and very coherent, and it is more convincing. So I think the more you give the people to look at as Dr. Nadir said, our views limited sometimes, and the more people read your application, I think it will solidify your application, and they pay your attention to certain things here and there. Thank you. Lubaba.
Thank you so much for all of those points. It's really, I guess that reminded me actually during those couple interviews, I noticed that most of the people who interviewed me, they will comment on the letter recommendations. So, and thank you so much, Dr. Nader. Your letter is the first one that your comment about it, the wording, the fact that it came from Michigan State University and your position at the university and at the program that I am currently doing. So that remind me, like last week, I think, Mulham, you mentioned mentorship through a student being a mentorship or something, ACP. If you could share those information so we can keep add to our CVs. And my advice to all of the next year applicants, or hopefully not next year, within the upcoming month, we get some positions, but try to target like a big institution, renowned institution, just like Michigan State University, because I noticed another letter that I have, despite that I work with attending at a different position at a different hospital, but because he updated the letter with the institute that he's currently working with, the first comment was about the institute and then about the content of the letter. So it makes a value if it is from a very known place and very renowned in the States. So thank you so much, Mulham, again for that. And if you can share it in the group or in the app as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lubaba. I think before Mulham answering Lubaba's question, Ali, do you have a question? Or
yeah, actually, yeah, I have. I want to thank you all, Khalid, Nader, and all our fellows for your comments, and it's very helpful. Actually, very. I'm sorry about the background noise. I don't have electricity, so I came out to continue the meeting. Anyways, thank you, Khalid, for the great story and for sharing your story. I think the message is very clear that we need to keep resistant and resilient, as Mahmoud said. I have a question about Saba. How to become a member of Saba, or what do they provide? And also, all fellows, if you have you heard or know anything about teleclinic or from Sudan, I mean, contributing.
Sorry, Ali, which clinic? I didn't hear you well.
Teleclinic or virtual clinic.
Okay.
I don't know. And thank you all.
Thank you, Ali. Concerning Saba, they have some activities in Sudan, and I think you can volunteer in their office in Sudan, and you can add that to your CV. Maybe this applies to your case and Khalid. You can reach to them, and I can connect you with someone, and then you can start the process from there. And I have no idea about the teleclinic. And thank you. If someone else want to comment to Ali's questions before Mulham answer Lubaba's question.
I don't have a good idea about that, but I have seen in one of the groups someone offering an opportunity that you can work actually through such like a teleclinic or something. Being in Sudan, you can work actually at I don't know, like a place here in the US. So if you go to the Sudanese Road to USA on Facebook, the one who put the post, his name is Mazen. I can give you his contact information. He might give you like even an idea about how does it work, even if like the position that they're looking for is filled or not. So
yes, yeah. This Mazen, he's my friend. I think yes, he posted he needs someone for a very good position in Sudan to help with certain projects. So I can connect. I can connect you with Mazen, both of you, Ali and Khalid, if you are interested. Thank you.
And to answer the other question about Saba, I think Mazen also is a Saba member. So if you have additional information or question, he may help you with that. In their website, maybe they can provide more information, but they work in different projects, some clinical, some research, some other volunteer. So thank you.
And Mulham, please, if you could share with us your experience with what Lubaba mentioned and you mentioned during the last meeting.
Thank you, Khalid, and thank you, Lubaba, for the questions and everyone for responding to the last points. And yeah, Lubaba, what I did was the ACP membership. I heard about it first, and I knew its importance. And I heard that there is some form of membership there involved there. So I tried to see there are different memberships that they had, and I noticed that there was a segment which said students. And for the students, they would provide free membership for 6 months. You would have everything, literally everything. If there is like conferences or anything, you wouldn't pay the 200 or 400 fee. So I applied as a student, and I made, they said you need to choose a location where you're living. Because I was living in Maryland, they said choose only the university. I said University of Maryland, for example. I was volunteering, but I said I studied in University of Maryland, which is kind of somewhere in between. But anyways, I did that, and that allowed me to be a student, kind of an ACP student member, which allowed me free subscription for about 6 months. And if you do that, I hope that they have the same right now, the same time. They haven't changed that. Probably they would have it the same. So you can enter direct to the website. They have that part. And as well, I will send the link in the WhatsApp group later on today, inshallah. And the membership, when you enter directly to the website, when you have your user and login password, you will find in their website, they say memberships. So if you click on the membership, you would have about, as I recall, it was 129 emails of different doctors in the United States. They are, at one stage, they were in the board committee of the ACP members. So they are big names in the United States. They are either, they are professors, most of them. They are full, they have like either almost all internal medicine, but some are in different fields, but majority are internal medicine. So if you're interested, definitely you choose one of them, for example, the first or second or third, and send them a message based on you're interested in some help to understand the process and their guidance, and to assess, as Dr. Nader mentioned, and as well as Khalid right now mentioned, the importance of giving the CVs to many. That's what I did actually. I sent to many doctors, about 5 or 10, and only one responded, which is the probability, which is good enough for us. And she became my mentor then after. She seen my CV, and then she's like, I want to help. I want to assist you. Let's have a discussion. That's how it starts. And if they become a member or a mentor for us, they would respond to all our questions, and they would provide us some time whenever we are available, as well whenever they're available. So that's something really important, because it starts and develops, and it improves the CV and the personal statement. For example, my personal statement, after I have written it, I've sent it to the mentor. She read it multiple times. She said, I would comment on this point, this point, and this point. I changed 3 points, and I knew that my personal statement was kind of at the same level needed for the quality for the residency programs, because she is also in the committee, or used to be in the committee of residency. And most who are there, they are kind of have correlation with the programs. So they know exactly the quality needed. So even if they're not able to link us with the program, they're at least making sure that our quality of our, let's say, the personal statements, as well as our CVs, they're at a higher level. So that's something very, I think it's important. And if we're able to have that, that's good. And also you can mention it in your memberships as ACP, one of your memberships. So that's also something good at the end. So those are the things that I found and what I did. And even if you, literally, if you have like any more discussion at any time, like today or tomorrow or any day, please let's have a discussion on that. And everyone, if you want to be involved in ACP or any other parts, let's have a discussion on it. I'll try to help so that you can get those points and the emailing points, and inshallah it will work very well. I just want to add some other point here based on the open positions, because this is important. I really think it's important because it helped me in the process, which is how do we know that there's open positions? It's not easy to identify. Unfortunately, most open positions at the moment, when they are open, they are internal. They are not provided, or there is no word outside in the internet or many. unless some positions or a new program has been started right now, or you're going to start soon, that's when they open it online so that they have more applicants. But most programs, they have, whenever they're having an open position, they would have 1 or 2 spots. They are internal. They would say to their residents and some in their group. So this results in the one who's going to be there is based on connection that they know and trust. So here it's important to be having the connection, communicating with everyone, that if you have, a position, make sure that let them know I'm ready. I have everything ready. My paper is ready and everything. So I can start at any time. That also helps. And second thing, emailing here is important because many positions, when we send them, they say, if you have an open position, they would look into us. This also, Dr. Nader mentioned an important point, which is majority are not free, the program directors, which is the point or the question of Khalid Osman, which is a very important, Khalid Osman, he mentioned that question. Thank you for that question, which is very important, which is how programs or the programs will identify, or is important actually, to provide emails to programs. I feel every energy should be used. Mostly, as Dr. Nader mentioned, they won't be seen. But what I did is send to almost all a good number of programs, and I had the ones who respond. Now, this is important. My goal was to build up a connection with some programs and to see who is open or they have a position now. 3 programs, they said, we just had an open position and we're going to place your CV for review. Now, they didn't mention it online or any website. So I think it's crucial to send to programs, and if they have an opening position, they might really consider us. And then that can be the start, and we can start within a couple of months if we are ready. So, and also it can be a start for communication. And I did mention that was literally the start where right now, the program that I went to, which is I started very early. I said, do you have any open position? That was my subject in the email. Do you have an open position, or are looking for open PGY1 position? And that's responded. They said, yeah, actually we have one position because of some situation, and we're going to consider you. So that's something I really think that it can happen suddenly. We should try it by sending different emails. If it happens, it will be our opportunity. We can build up on the communication. Now, I didn't stop communicating with them. After a couple of months after, I communicated with them back, and that resulted in the interview at the end of the day. They noticed that I was genuinely interested. And this is also the point which Marwa mentioned last week, which is if we focus on certain programs based on our criteria, and we know that we genuinely interested in them, our words, our choice of words will be more stronger. So yeah, you can choose certain programs which you feel you are more likely having more links. For example, you travel there, or you're going to travel there, you are interested in something, then your choice of words will be more stronger. If you're living in the area itself, that's even stronger. You'll be able to speak more about it. And if you know somebody there, that's even stronger. You can mention the people in the program. If you know somebody, like a resident or someone, you say, I know this person, he's from some university or from my country, and so something like that, so that they have a link, like the program coordinator or program director, and then they would probably respond, and hopefully it will have a great response soon, inshallah. And good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mulham. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mulham. I think we finish our agenda for today. If
Omni, I think
Omni have a question. Yes.
Question and.
Yeah.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, everybody. I just wanted to tell about the tele-rotation. I think it's very trendy now due to the COVID situation, and I have few residents here with me in Qatar. They are doing some tele-rotations in clinics in the United States, but I think they are paying too much, almost $1,000 for a 2 weeks rotation, as far as I know, and they promise them 3 letters of recommendation. And even in terms of attendance, they are not really strict. So it's a pure business as far as I perceived. It's not like they will give you the letter of recommendation, yes, but I don't think it will be as solid as you finding it yourself. Because I remember last match season, there was some Indian doctor who's providing some externship in hospital in Illinois, and everybody was coming to him. And then the programs know that this is a pure business and they're not considering his recommendation letters anymore. So it matters where you do your telerotations, from whom you're getting your letters. I will ask about these telerotations for you just to have an insight about it in case it's needed. But it's for me, I think it's not a good idea, to be honest, to look for those, the business ones. I think it will do more harm than good in the CV. For Saba, we do appreciate Saba. They are doing great job. They helped us throughout the match process, the interview, reviewing the CV and everything. And what I suggest for Khalid, Mulham, Marwa, and everybody who matched, for us, this is our turn to take over and try to help as well with Saba people. They are lacking manpower. I believe they need a few people to help. So I think we can volunteer and do that to return the favors and to keep things going. They are really good, and I think they have observership opportunities as well. I recommend to contact Mazin Sheikhun through his Facebook. He's very active and he responds very quickly. Okay.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omnia. Very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Omnia. Thank you, Omnia. I just wanted to add a couple of points or a couple of things, if I may. One of them is request. Mulham, can you share your letter or email when you sent back then to programs with a fancy title? Someone is PGY1 seeking position, something like that, and share this with the fellows. Maybe we can, for those who are interested, maybe they can modify that and use it. My suggestion will be, if you want to reach out to these programs, you can do it consecutive. Like you send the first email with similar to the email seeking for the vacant position, and you can put your qualification. The second email, maybe you can send with the request to say, I'm interested in your program, and I have this whatever application. How can I improve for next season, so that they can look at your program and maybe they can give you feedback if they have time, or maybe just they can look at your program. So it's a catchy phrase. So these are ways to send or communicate to programs currently. The third method, if you had an interview in some programs, I think it's a good idea to send a thank you letter for the interviews and appreciation for the time, and then add that you are still interested in that program and ask if they can review your application for next year, see if you can improve, what area you can improve for them. The last one is you can send a general for any program, as Mulham mentioned, that you are interested in, but make sure you mention why you are interested in that program, because of XYZ, because of the residents. They score very high in the, let's say, the board exam, or they have good subspecialties that you are interested in, or the area, or whatever. You need to study the program or the location and mention something specific about that program for them, so that at least if they open it, they will look at it and they say, oh, this candidate is genuine in his or her interest in this program. So try change your approach, but keep repeating the same way to get connection or get them look at your application. This one way. The other way is to do mass production. Just send emails to any programs and see if there is any open positions there. The other question I have for Khalid Adam, you mentioned the geriatric fellowship. I'm not sure if any of the other fellows is interested in doing that. We contacted, I think, Sumi, the one in Michigan. I think that one is closed. They are no longer offering position for non-residents. They need residency, and then they go after that for fellowship. But if the one that you mentioned, is it Missouri or
Yeah,
somewhere?
Missouri. Yeah.
Then maybe some of you interested in that position, maybe they can seek out or ask them about the details and apply there if there is, or there are open spot there. I think there are some programs either in Missouri, Kansas, somewhere in the South, where they accept you for position like residency, but it's not approved by the government. So you will work similar what you are doing now, Khalid, like volunteer, but it's not volunteer, it's paid position. It's not after 1 year you will not get the like when you finish your residency, but you will get the experience, you will get the letter, and you will help them cover the need for that area. Most likely it's rural areas. So maybe, yeah, you want to tell us more?
Yes, I have, because I have this license from Missouri, Board of the Healing Art. If you finish, if you are FCMG certified within less than 2 years, or you finish the CK before 2 years, you can apply to this license. But after 2 years, you are not qualified to apply to this license. So after I finish, I immediately applied to the license, and I granted the license. Yes, you work as a specific title. They call them assistant physician, and their job description, I think it's higher than physician assistant, and it is a very good buying job. And you have to work in the rural areas, and you work under some sort of supervision of your work. I applied and I look for work there before I match through some staffing agencies, but I didn't hear back from them. But some of them, they were looking for me for a job, and they contacted me. They have some opportunities will open soon, and I told them that I match. So I encourage everyone have finished the CK within less than 2 years to apply and to obtain this license. And I have all the details. If you need it, just let me know, and I will walk you through the application process and what they need. And I think it's a very good opportunity. And also, one thing that also I need to mention, if possible, the GMC or the British Medical Council also open for everyone has FSMG certified to be able to work in UK. Maybe you can apply and you can just add that to your CV. I think also it will look good. Yeah, and there are some. In addition to that, this opportunity started in Missouri, but there are other states. They start to adopt the same position for their population, specifically in the rural areas, and I think with less restrictions than the one in Missouri. So also maybe you can look for those opportunities. In addition, there's something called association, free clinic associations. I think it is present in most of the states. So I will send the link. Just look at your location and you'll find free clinics, and they always need volunteer. Like the one I started to work at for 2 years, it is free clinic, but it is, some of them, they are very big, like the one I work at. They have medical students from Brown University. I interact with them, like it is very good, and it give you good opportunities to connect with some like attendings. You'll get good letters of recommendations, and it is a good chance to have a connections. So I will send the link. Look for these clinics. It is not more than 1 or 2 days. It's up to your. Yeah, it's up to you. You can do it, and while you're still doing your other things. Thank you.
As far as volunteering, you mentioned some options which are good. One option I think you can consider is the membership with AMDA. It's free membership. If you are already a member, that's well and good. If not, maybe you consider that. And I would approach them to get involved in any volunteer work. Some of them need some people to work in, maybe it's simple task, but they are overwhelmed. So they need someone to grab some, let's say, references or something for certain goals or objectives they want to accomplish. So maybe you can reach and also expand your connection that way. You may even, if you work with some people, you may get some letters or some recommendation letters or some connections. They may help you find out positions there. So it's a free thing. And as Khalid mentioned, you can spend 1 hour a week or less than that. But in your resume, it will be well noticed when you say, I was volunteering in this committee in AMDA, for instance. Or you can pick any other societies that they offer the students free membership. You can join that association and then try to get into any of the committees or members in the board so that you can offer some help. You don't need to spend a lot of time with them, maybe some hour in 2 weeks, something like that, or maybe just attend their meetings, and then you can put that in your resume. I work with these people or something like that. Especially with COVID, sometimes it's hard for you to go. In the past, you can go to the hospital and do some volunteer work. Nowadays, with COVID, I don't think it's allowed. So think about it if needed.
Dr. Nader, also we were discussing the WhatsApp group, not as a replacement, but to shift to do, because we don't have experience with the research club. And I think most of the fellows, they agree that maybe we can try this. And I think Omnia have good experience in this, and she volunteered next meeting to start this activity instead of critical appraisal.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Any other suggestion for next week? I think you can go ahead.
Yeah, we have this research club and journal club, and also Khalid Osman, and I hope by that time the electricity is stable and he will be able to present. And any other agenda or suggestions? Yes, Khalid Osman.
Yes, besides presenting the graphs, I will also coordinate next week's meeting since I missed the beginning of this one.
So sorry, Khalid, we didn't hear you well.
Yes, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I said besides presenting the graphs, I can also coordinate the next week's meeting because I missed the beginning of this one.
To do what specifically, maybe it's a problem with me or all of you didn't hear Khalid.
Yes, to coordinate the next meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Marwa?
Yes, I have a suggestion, not for next week, but maybe the week after, or even like in 2 weeks or so, to discuss evidence-based medicine, like the level of evidence and what's considered to be highest, and the resources. So I believe this is helpful not only in terms of research, but also while we work in hospital, just what are the level of evidence you should look at, and what's considered to be highest or lowest in such things.
Thank you, Marwa.
So I think what I suggest is if you have some time to look at the app, and maybe you can add some of the suggestion according to what you think it might be appropriate. Let's say look at the next meetings, and see if you want add some of the great suggestion like Marwa mentioned or someone else mentioned. You can just open the app and put it somewhere where you want either you or someone might present something. One thing I want you to discuss or maybe share in the future is professionalism. It's a high topic for you. Either you match or you did not match. Some points where in the past no one told us about professionalism. You go to the residency and you will be judged according to different criteria, and then by the end of the year someone will check certain marks or forms about how you did this. Most of the time they're supposed to give you a feedback in the middle if you are not doing certain things the right way. But in certain situations or programs, they may not give you that chance. And by the end of the year, they will tell you, hey, you were doing this, which is wrong. So you don't have a chance to improve. So maybe we can discuss what areas you think about from now, about how you present yourself and do your job. If you are in residency, or we can practice while we are doing our Teams here or Zoom meetings or projects as far as professionalism. Feedback is something else. You need to know how to do it and how to get it. So if someone is giving you a feedback, like Khalid said, someone might give you a harsh feedback, how you respond to that. And also how you, if you become the senior or the chief president in the program, or down the road you become the attending, how you can give feedback to those under you. Actually, in here with medical students from day one, we want them to give each other feedback, each course, each semester, so they know what's going on. If in a small group one is dominant, like giving every answer or something, then the whole group will give him or her some feedback, so that they can at least know that, oh, you are not the big guy here. You will need to give opportunities for others to share things around, and vice versa. If in all the groups you are just the silent guy, the shy, then they will give you, hey, there are some opportunities you can just open up and share. Same, we can do it here. I noticed some in the beginning when we started, some will be silent, not participating. So maybe we can give each other some feedback about, hey, why don't you present this, or why don't you do this? The opportunity of leading the team or the meetings, that's also a good thing for you guys to practice some of these skills down the road. So think about what can be beneficial in the coming meetings that we can discuss. We can assign some people to talk about these things, or if you want it to be just question and answer and then situation and examples, then we can talk about that as well. So just suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader, for this excellent suggestions. I think yes, we need this very much. Maybe we can have like give certain time for this professionalism, and one of us can read about it and can present it, and then we can start to apply it during our meetings. Any other suggestions or for the next meeting or in general?
Hi, Khalid.
Yes.
For the next meeting, inshallah, I will present how to do a PICO, what is a PICO, and we'll talk about the journal club and what is the objectives and how we conduct a journal club exactly.
Thanks so much, Umnia. Okay, so for next meeting, our agenda will be Umnia presenting the PICO and the journal club, and Khalid Osman will lead the meeting, and also he will present the PowerPoint. And as Umnia suggested, maybe Marwa, we can talk about evidence-based medicine. I'm not sure, Marwa, you will be.
I mean, the week after.
The week after?
Yeah.
Okay. So the week after, maybe we can have two topics, the professionalism and evidence-based medicine. And if anyone want to volunteer to have some PowerPoint presentation about the major or about the professionalism.
Yeah, I would be happy to present professionalism.
Thanks so much, Ali. And Marwa, you will present the evidence-based medicine.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep, thank you. So the week after, we have our, I think, agenda ready. And as Dr. Nader suggested, if anyone think about anything or agenda, maybe you can add it in the app, and then we will see. Like we will coordinate them. If we have short time, maybe you can move the agenda to the meeting after.
I just want to add one thing. Sumi suggested that to prepare for the Q&A session at AGS. I don't. She's not here today, but I think we might consider this. I don't know our timeline. The virtual meeting, I think it's on May 12th, right?
Yes.
So we need to prepare for that as well.
Okay. You guys think we need to incorporate this in this meeting or the meeting after, or maybe a separate meeting just for our AGS posters, questions and answers, like the possible questions and answers and how to prepare for them and to answer them properly?
I suggest to do it maybe the week before, or like maybe 2 weeks before the session itself, because if you do it like this week or the coming week, it will people will forget the answers and they won't be motivated like right now to look at this, but maybe like at some point near the date itself it will be more
important. I agree with Marwa. Thank you, Marwa. And
one thing I wanted to maybe to share with you, I have a suggestion for Lubaba or any other person who might be interested in. For next week, maybe Sunday, let's say, if we start to prepare for question and answer about COVID in the communities here in the US, using the platform that we are using now, like Zoom meeting, and open it for Sudanese communities in the areas where we live, or maybe in general. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 of you guys get ready, and then you can discuss and answer questions according to what they come up. If we have a group of people join, and then just to compare the misinformation out there. It's just a suggestion, and if we can do that, that will be one of the volunteer work that you can mention in your CV, that you are trying to improve the awareness of the communities here in the US about accepting the vaccine and answering questions about myths or misinformation. It's just a suggestion. If you agree with that, maybe we can also involve SAPA. SAPA, usually they have their own platform and their own office where they can design this and get it running. And so we can offer them that we are available, let's say Sunday, same time, if that's okay with you, or whatever time you choose. And then we'll say these are the fellows interested in presenting some, and you can present some of the data similar to Mulham. You mentioned brief 15 minutes, 20 minutes discussion about what's going on nowadays, the vaccine, the variant, and the rate of infection. And we notice that whatever, and there are some misinformation down there, and we want to open the floor for discussion or for question and answer. And then you can take it for 1 hour, for 2 hours, whatever time you decide. It's just a suggestion.
It's a great idea, actually. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm interested in.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I had similar experience, and I added it to my CV. I volunteer with SABA. Just basically when COVID started, for physician, for resident fellows and attending, if they experience any symptoms or if they need any kind of help, they have the hotline and they give my phone number. And after that, I directed them to the resources like expert people or other part of their needs for quarantine and all these things when the COVID started earlier in 2020. And it was a great experience, and I added to my CV, and I think it's something very beneficial, and it doesn't cost me any time or anything. Yeah. Thank you.
Sounds good. So maybe Lubaba, you can lead that and see who else in the group are interested. And if you want to reach out to Saba and Khalid, maybe you have some people there, you know. If not, I can, if you have some people contact, let's go that route. And I know one of them is Mahmoud, is the one who organized the presentation or the webinars in the office for the media. But if we can get something going, it shouldn't be of a big deal. It's just a WhatsApp message and Facebook message to the people here in the US, and then we will be ready for 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever time.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's a great idea.
You're welcome. And that can be repeated down the road if you choose some other topics.
Sure.
Yeah.
If there's no other suggestions or comment before we conclude our meeting, Dr. Nadir, if you want to close the meeting, or if you have any final comment or suggestions.
Just a final comment. In a few weeks, maybe next or the coming weeks, we will discuss about how we can write about this fellowship. So I need your feedback, and if we can get this presented somewhere, form or shape in a form of publication. I'm gonna speak about it in one of the meetings here in Nancy. But usually speaking in a small group is not gonna help much spread the idea. So if we can make something out of this in different format, that might be a good option. Think about what you want to do. Publication and as an article might be a good option, there are other options. So maybe we can discuss this in the future in details because of the time. Just everyone, if you have time to think about it, that would be great. Thank you. And no further comments. Thanks.
I do have a comment.
Yes, Khalid. Or Ali.
Yeah, okay. So as you all know, Ramadan is next week. So Ramadan Kareem to everyone. I think the time of breakfast is during the meeting. And if you don't mind, if you all don't mind, I think it's better maybe if we can change the time of meeting. I think it's especially problematic for Roa. I don't see her today, but since she has a family and so on, I don't know if you are available all throughout the day or no. Thank you. Maybe we can discuss this more on the WhatsApp group or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali, and Ramadan Kareem. So there are options here. As you said, you can discuss it in the group. The one who are in Sudan, Khalid, Ali, and Ru'a. The rest, I think, Omnia in the Qatar area. If I'm not mistaken, the rest are in the US. So see what's available for you guys here. It will be Ramadan here as well. But if you want to switch it, think about other people as well, because some of you are working on doing other things. So discuss and let me know if it's problematic shifting the time or day. That's okay for the people outside the US. You can either send your question, comments, or whatever participation in a format where you can record. Let's say, Ali, you want to present something, record it and send it in the app or the WhatsApp group or the meeting so that we can still do the meeting our time. You will be fasting and breaking your fast, but still your participation is considered. If you have questions later, you can also look at the videos, see if your questions were answered. If not, then you can send it to through the app or the email or WhatsApp group. So there is way to accommodate, even if we don't change the time, you can participate while you are doing other stuff. That's for the people outside the US. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commander. That would be a good alternative. The first option. Thank you.
For me, I don't have a problem with timing on Saturday. At work, and it's quiet most of the Saturday, so any time is good for me. If there's no any other questions or comment, أقول لكم Ramadan Kareem, and maybe we can discuss the timing in the WhatsApp group, and then we will see also Dr. Nadir's timing. And if no more comments or questions, Assalamu alaikum, and see you next week.
Okay. Ramadan Kareem, everyone.
Thank you, Khalid.
Thank you.
Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you, Amin.
Amen.
Ramadan Kareem.
Salam.
Salam.